Speaking about spiritual bypassing can be tricky because of the mind's ability to hijack concepts and use them as tools to perpetuate the illusion, suggesting that shadow work is necessary for cultivating willingness and openness in order to see clearly, seems to directly contradict that this is already perfection. Everything is enlightenment, and there's nothing to do. Yet it doesn't actually contradict, because the reality of non-duality is all-inclusive of all that arises in it. What I'm talking about is dropping the story and deeply and authentically feeling what comes in this ever-arising and falling instant. This is deep stage practice and can create a fertile environment for seeing clearly what has always been. So, what is spiritual bypassing? It is the use of spiritual practices and beliefs to avoid dealing with painful feelings, unresolved wounds, and developmental needs. It's the epitome of black and white thinking, suppression, and numbing your pain like a drug. This is common after the initial honeymoon phase of awakening, and it's easy to become seemingly stuck here in unprocessed emotions and mind storms. This happens to many of us, and I believe often cannot be avoided on the path. When I first heard the word and definition spiritual bypassing, I thought, oh, those poor lost ignorant souls. Good thing I know better. Needless to say, I had to go through it the hard way. For 5 years, I did this, terrified of fully feeling and chanting that there is no one here when intense triggers would arise. We inherit these triggers and traumas not by choice. We are naturally and deeply conditioned by society that feeling is bad and wrong. When spiritual bypassing occurs, it happens unconsciously. Commonly, we must go through it to even see it. The separate self is divisive and wants to make the relative bad or wrong. Superficial spirituality has a potential to cause harm to self and others. Do not suppress yourself with non-duality concepts and beliefs. We are gaslighting ourselves when we do this. Doing this makes us judgmental to ourselves and others. What is called Zen stink and pure denial. This isn't true negation. Do not censor yourself with spiritual concepts. Clinging to the non-dual perspective only is toxic. Parroting phrases when you feel triggered, like no one is here. Dissociating. Our triggers will always come back with a vengeance if we abandon them. Dense emotions are not wrong or negative. They are also this, freedom appearing as that. We must be willing to be uncomfortable to see clearly. Spiritual bypassing is disembodiment or disassociation, a lack of grounding in the body and not holding space for the apparent individual. So, how do we navigate this? The sense of self is innocent. It's been through a lot here on this planet. The momentum of trauma is strong within it. Shadow work is integrating what we have disowned and rejected, bringing it to the light of awareness, bringing wholeness into the body, to feel deeply, viscerally, sensations. We must stop turning from our pain and denying our suffering, and go deeply into that which we do not want to feel: anger, shame, grief, fear, etc. Follow what is intuitively needed for the body right now. Maybe a nap, or to binge watch some show. Perhaps take a break from seeking for a while. To feel your feelings with love and true authenticity. Tell the truth about what appears. Do not discount the personal. Hold space for it, if for no other reason than it's simply arising. Don't pretend there is no sense of self appearing when there is, and that it's not suffering, even though it's only seemingly. Stop trying to control what is felt. Practice acceptance and deeply feeling. There is no such thing as a feeling or sensation that shouldn't be felt. Engage with what is. Don't turn the hurt child away. Feel the pain. The pain is a portal. Feel what the hurt child is trying to share. Feel it to heal it, and perhaps avoid spiritual bypassing altogether. Become the resistance fully. Most people do not know what pain is because they won't touch it. Senses and sensations never lie. Concepts can only lie. Which one will you orient to? There is nothing you can't feel. Emotions can't harm you. It's only energy. Fear of emotions and resistance to feeling them will cause suffering and perpetuate the illusion. You can endure them. They will not kill you. Without the story, its full-on aliveness. Meet life without filters. That's intimacy. Mind is only a reflection of direct experience. It attempts to manipulate life. Senses and sensations are direct experience. It's effortless. The mind distracts you with shoulds and should nots to divert awareness away. and to protect from feelings. Drop in and feel without the story. Even very subtle emotions. Discomfort can be fully felt and is an opportunity to integrate the relative and the absolute. Triggering emotion is a red flag that says it's time to feel sensations and go within the body. Suffering is valid, and contrast molds us into integration, wholeness, embodiment. Use the appearing catalyst to feel and balance. Triggers are opportunities to feel. It can be playful and seen as a game. This is an emotional guidance system. True love and wisdom heals the psychological self so that it can die and rest in peace. This is yin and yang. This is truth and authenticity. This is bringing love and wisdom together. It could be seen as resting in the heart. This is a lifestyle of true transmutation. We cannot deny our humanity without perpetuating suffering. Do not reject the darkness for the light. Be balanced. Become intimate with the shadow to go deep and see clearly. Come back to your senses. Your awareness is healing. Make a safe space in your body for these unprocessed traumas. The authentic, clear seeing comes after spiritual bypassing is outgrown. Pretending you aren't human is an enlightenment. Running from the apparent sense of self doesn't equal seeing no self. Do not attempt to force self-realization when a sense of self is appearing. Do not let spiritual ego deny your humanity. Clear seeing isn't about feeling better. It's about telling the truth, radically, about what arises, and resting at the gateless gate. Open and vulnerable. Meing and being, the drastic ups and downs of awakening, will continue until full allowance arises concerning the individual. You can only fully intuit your wholeness through the portal of your humanity. There will be no more apparent progress without seeing this. If there is no one here, then why are we running from a hurt child? If there were no sense of self, then we wouldn't have to constantly tell ourselves that there is no self. If it's not personal, then there is no reason to reject what appears. If there is no one, then truly compassion can arise for these conditioned patterns. Samsara is nirvana. They are identical. The human requires reverence of self to heal. Existence is a paradox. Resolve the paradox of relative and absolute by balancing the two, and only then will the two merge into one. Balance the masculine with the feminine. The great mystery expresses through humanity. The relative is valid because it is one with the absolute. You can only embody divinity, the absolute, non-duality, clear seeing, through the portal of the human, relative, temporal duality. Suffering is a catalyst for clear seeing. Resolve the paradox of being a human and the great mystery simultaneously. God doesn't make mistakes. True love gives birth to true wisdom. This is power and sovereignty. This is true humility. Love doesn't deny, it embraces. Surrender control once and for all by falling in love.